That's the music. Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. With me, as always, is the man who built an empire from mere words and dreams.
We built the city on rock and roll. Phil, Filmy, and Perich.
That's the one. Hey, Phil. So glad you could join me as always. Okay. Those of you who, along with me, watched Cloak and Dagger last night, we need to have a moment of silence for whom I still say is the true secret hero of Cloak and Dagger, now made all the more the hero because of his sacrifice. In memoriam, this episode is dedicated to Greg, the drunk lawyer. I don't know if I ever got Greg's last name, but he certainly was a drunk lawyer, and a good one too. And they really gave us the feels this episode, and you know what's funny is I actually missed that scene when it happened, and you know, I remember that my son was asking me to cook a mistake, so I cooked a mistake and all this kind of stuff. And then when I got back, I saw this tweet from Cloak and Dagger, at Cloak and Dagger, and it's like, yeah, we really liked him too. Yeah, we went there. And I was like, what happened? And then I realized, Greg's not in this episode anymore, is he? Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, gosh, that was painful. What did you think about the death of our hero, Greg? Philip?
I found it surprising because I thought they were going to go the route you suggested and use him to he did a little bit, but I thought they were going to use him a little more to get in access to the Roxxon files and maybe get them on site somehow, or I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm guessing maybe what they decided was that the work that he had to do was already done, that he had all of the evidence,
maybe,
that now they have to do the investigation. And that is what we see Dagger do at the very end when she uses her light knife to cut through the safe where everything was stored and take out his Roxxon files. It's weird to me because it's like I've never known daggers to actually cut things.
Yeah, I think that's not comic book accurate, but maybe for TV they needed something more visual.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, Cloak and Dagger continues to be a great series. I gotta say, is the soap opera is as interesting as the action adventure.
And what did you think when Tandy touched Greg and saw that he actually was a good guy? He didn't have ulterior motives with her mother.
Well, I mean, there is an interesting side aspect to that. Is that maybe what she's seeing there is not so much who he is, but his best self. The
best side of him, yeah, okay.
You know, because you remember that when he touched her mother, it was somewhat similar. You know, this was her hope that she could be that mom, but the only one stopping her from being that mom is herself. So
maybe that's going to be a theme going forward. If Tandy sees the best side of people, maybe she works to help them get there if they're not there.
Yeah, I think certainly that is
especially the mother.
You know, the light knives in the books, they have that interesting effect on you that when they strike you, it's kind of like a less painful version of the penance stare from Ghost Rider, which is that you see all of the things you could have been and all the things, and then you feel despair over what you are not. And then, of course, Cloak comes along and says, yeah, but here's who you are. Really love the comic book accurate Cloak for Cloak. Because we do see in this, we see that Cloak's father is a member of the Red Hawks, the Night Red Hawks or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I forget the name.
Yeah, it was like the Night Hawks or the Red Hawks. Was it not? No, I think it was the Red Night Hawks. That's what they were, the Red Night Hawks. And these are what they call
Nighthawk.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I got that too. I just got it, but yes. Well, we're hoping. We're getting Tilda Dillard in Luke Cage, so there could be yeah. Who knows? Who knows what we're getting out there in the big old TV land? But no. So Tyrone's father is he was a member of the Red Nighthawks, which is a tribe of Mardi Gras Indians, which is, and the way they establish it, it actually makes it way more than just a Mardi Gras thing. Almost like this is a fraternal organization. And they have within this idea of the spy boys, which are those who go out in darkness ahead of us to see what dangers lurk ahead. And it's like, wow, that was a pretty apt description of Cloak. Very good. And he pulls his brother's costume off the shelf, and you see the blue and black stripes indicative of Cloak's cloak. So I thought that was really a really great way for them to work that in. Not particularly excited about getting Dagger's costume to be comic book accurate, because because, you know,
No.
a teenager does not need that much cleavage. I'm just saying.
They would probably change that anyway, because I mean, I don't know, for the camera, I don't know how it would work. It was mostly just like plain white. Yeah, there was a lot of cleavage, but the rest of it was just like plain white.
I mean, she should still wear some kind of, I don't know, well, maybe she won't wear a costume, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, in the Secret Wars, when they did a Cloak and Dagger thing, they actually had, but they had Tyrone was the dagger and Tandy was the cloak, and she had the white cloak. So maybe they'll give her a white cloak, you know?
Or unless, I mean, she does wear like the white tights because she was like a ballet dancer, but maybe like some kind of like jacket over the top of it or something, you know? Like,
we'll see what they choose. Well, we'll see what they choose to do. But it was nice to see Cloak's actual cloak in the episode. Yeah, and again, like I said, like, half the interesting things about this is that human drama. I mean, really, we've had almost no superheroism. We've had a little bit of paranormal, no real superheroism.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I'm like, am I just impatient, or I'm like, I want them to get to the, you know, fighting people and getting into the rocks on stuff more.
Yeah, but you know, when you think about Cloak and Dagger's power set in general, it does tend to be somewhat much more passive. You know?
Yeah, and it is only episode 4. I mean, they're basically have to build this whole world. So
yeah, so I mean, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah,
and I've been enjoying it. Like I said, they've had enough of a story that I don't miss the superheroics. You know, I mean, even just the whole situation with Greg when his wife does call and Candy's mom decides to blow up her relationship back, even though Greg is like, I'm not going to answer the phone. You know, she's basically my ex-wife, and Tandy's mom's like, no, you should answer the phone. It might be important. It's like, fine. And he answers the phone, and she's like, well, I think I'm going to go to bed now. It's like, could you be more sabotaging of this relationship? The man is trying, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, he did seem like a nice enough guy, but can you believe him when he's like, oh, yeah, it's my marriage is basically over. I'm like, you know, but it's like, okay, but you're not divorced yet. Is this just a story he's telling Tandy's mom?
Well, I mean, regardless of if it is or is not, it's not like everyone's not an adult in this room.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like he's not also doing the whole Roxanne thing. Here's the thing. I don't doubt that Greg is a really flawed guy who probably is going to have a hard time cutting those ties, would have had a hard time cutting those ties to his ex anyway, because he is, as we say in the business, a kind of a Captain Save-A-Ho, where he finds the wounded birds and he wants to care for them because that makes him feel like a big, important man. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing per se, but I am saying that, you know, it makes it very hard emotionally to have a relationship with such a person when you are a person who is always seeking out that emotional difficulty.
Well, didn't they make some kind of comment about him helping or being drawn to damaged women or something? Or
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's a Captain Save-A-Ho,
yeah,
as they say. You know, he feels that he can fix everybody's problems, but you can't. And that's the truth of it, is you really can't fix these people's problems. And eventually it either leads to self-immolation, where you are just burning yourself out chasing after people to try and fix them, or it leads to recrimination. Honestly, his story might not have ended well anyway, and at least this way he gets to die a hero.
True.
You know, so there we go. You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain of your own story. And I think no clearer is that made than with the story of Greg. He is certainly a character who died a hero.
Goodbye, Greg. We hardly knew you.
Yeah, well, we got 4 episodes, and I liked him. You know, I was able to write all my fanfic in that time for him, so I'm good. Anyway, but that was Cloak and Dagger. Do you have any thoughts on that episode? Or
no, I think that's everything I had. But no, I'm surprised you chomping at the bit to lead with the big story this week. If not here on Capes, like, I'm surprised.
Oh, which story do you think is the big story? Because there's a lot of.
Well, I thought the one that would be big in your mind is is it final? Has Disney won the Fox thing?
Okay, so here's exactly how it works out. So Fox has accepted Disney's deal over Comcast. So it is unlikely that Comcast will get the Fox deal.
Okay.
Now we have to go to regulators. The good news in this story is that the regulators, the courts, have already sided in favor of AT&T Time Warner merger, which is very important, because if that merger got approved, it is very unlikely that Fox Disney won't get approved, because Disney isn't getting, it's an interesting point in this, Disney isn't getting any distribution platform with this, because the Fox stations remain as Fox properties. All they're getting is the content of Fox production.
Well, I mean, with the movies, they really don't even need a platform, because they already have something for the Marvel movies, for the Star Wars movies. So, I mean, they really don't need like a platform.
Well, no, you need a platform.
And Disney's talking about a streaming service too. So, I mean,
that's not a platform.
Oh.
That misconception, that like Hulu, I mean, it is a platform in that you can watch shows on it, but you have to be able to get to it. What the AT&T merger was that AT&T has a method of getting that information into your house.
Yes.
So when DC, so basically that, you know, your DC streaming services now have a way that net neutrality be darned, they can get into your house. Because AT&T can say, you're going to Warner's? Express link.
I don't know if maybe Disney has something in mind for that eventually, but it just seems like I don't think Disney cares about it, just that they just want the rights. Like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men.
Because what Disney is counting on is the idea that their content is valuable enough so that if you make it hard to get to their content, that's going to hurt you as a platform provider, not them as a content producer.
Well, I mean, just the movies. I mean, look, Avengers Infinity War has already passed $2 billion, and we haven't even thrown the X-Men or the Fantastic Four in there to meet the Avengers. Imagine when that happens.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, definitely Disney is going to make their money back on this.
Oh, yeah.
I think. I
mean, what did they pay? Was it
like $71 billion?
Yeah, but they'll make that back. I mean, they paid more for Star Wars, and they made that back.
Yeah, I mean, because, and of course, Star Wars definitely, because Star Wars is all about the toys.
Because that's
we're going to resell you the toy you had in 3rd grade because you'll buy it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Disney, they're just waiting for the rights because they're like, you know, we own Marvel, so we have X-Men and Fantastic Four, everything else. All we need is those movie rights.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, they're definitely building out their universes.
Then we can really push the T-shirts.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it's all about the T-shirts, Phil. That's the sweetest plum.
And the toys,
Krusty the Clown. You know, the issue is that Disney is in a tight spot there because if you have a consolidation of modes of communication, that could hurt them. And what you're going to see next is Disney either building out an infrastructure of over-the-wire communications or buying one. So if you hear about a Disney Sprint merger, Disney T-Mobile, or what I think you might get, here's my prediction, watch Disney make a bid for Virgin Mobile.
Oh.
Watch them, because that's going to look like a small property, but they can buy and build out and really run their content through that.
Oh, yeah. All they need is the infrastructure. They get, you know, they buy something small. They just pump the money into it.
Now, they are getting their Hulu out of this deal, so they now own a streaming platform because they wind up with it was ABC, NBC, and Fox that owned it.
So now they have
CBS
ABC and Fox.
CBS running their own game, and now they own ABC and Fox because they can own the broadcast network, but not the network of stations.
Okay.
FCC rules, man. But anyway, but now they own 2/3 of Hulu, which puts NBC in a rough spot, which incidentally is probably why Comcast was trying to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Because NBC Universal was like, because NBC Universal obviously could have said, well, you know what? We can work out the rights deals with them because we've already done that with the Hulk. We've already worked out rights deals with them. We're happy to do that. But if we don't get our portion of Hulu, we basically are the junior partner in Hulu.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying Comcast NBC is a small company, but I knew they weren't going to win. It's like, you're not going to get into a bankroll measuring contest with Disney.
Yeah, but
they're just going to outbid you eventually.
But the thing is that, of course, with Comcast, they own the wires. So they are already a distribution network.
Yes.
And they just T system, which is basically a Wi-Fi system, based on the idea that once we can get a cable into your house, we can run it just as well as any Wi-Fi, phone, or electronic media. So,
but I mean, I think you are onto something. They're probably just going to buy an outlet because I mean, you keep pumping out $1 billion movies. It's just like, yeah, let's just go buy this little.
But you want one that's actually good and decent. You know?
Yeah.
You want it because you're going to have to build out that infrastructure. You know, AT&T has a really good infrastructure through many major population centers. It falls off in certain areas, but quite frankly,
and then you get DirecTV with AT&T.
Exactly, which they also bought. You know, I mean, this is this whole system where they've bought out. AT&T has put themselves in a very strong position. Verizon is probably is like their closest competitor.
Oh yeah,
as far as being able to broadcast, and so it'll be what the next corporate giant gobbles up next.
Do you think AT&T and Verizon are both gonna be trying to woo Disney? Be like, hey, marry me?
No. Well, AT&T already bought Warner's.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah. So I mean, AT&T could merge with with DC with Disney, but then you can have your amalgam universe.
I was gonna say then Disney has everybody, then Marvel and DC. Then
if there's a merger between AT&T and Disney, that would be the content apocalypse.
You see nerds' heads exploding everywhere.
Well, no, I mean, no, in a bad way, because you would have one company owning the majority of syndicatable content and the means of distribution. So that would be a very dangerous thing. That sort of vertically integrated monopoly would be dangerous.
And the most important part, all the like top selling comics.
Yeah, that would be the most important part, Phil.
That's right. Hey, in our little world.
Okay, I don't buy comics because they sell well. I buy comics because they have good stories.
But I'm just saying, all those properties. I mean, all the Marvel stuff. Then they would get like Batman and
I mean,
maybe we could get some good DC movies.
Yeah, well, if they let Disney make them, sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Disney could do a great Superman and would do a great Batman too.
Batman and the Avengers.
Yeah.
Charlie's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it. You could put Batman. Why not? I don't care.
Well, if they integrate, they would do that.
Yeah, well, I would imagine they would do more crossovers where they would keep the DC universe separate from the Marvel universe. Because I think it would be weird. I think it would be weird in either universe to have them be in a constant state of merger. Unless you're going to do an amalgam universe.
If they got the rights to everything, you don't think they would like reboot everything, start at zero, and just like no?
DC and Marvel are two different. It's like Coke and Pepsi.
We want to get like a brand new universe where like Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne grew up together or something.
That doesn't help brand.
Yeah.
That's not going to make it a better story. So it's better to have the different universes be different. The biggest problem that you have, I think, is at times, any problem with the DC universe, I think that it's too reactive to the Marvel universe.
Well, I think they're both reactive to each other, at least comic-wise.
Well, I'm talking about the film.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. DC totally wants to be the Marvel movies. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't want to do Marvel movies. They want to have something that says, see, this is how we're different than Marvel, rather than just trying to tell, this is our movie.
They want to be their own thing, but they want people to look at them the same way that people look at the MCU, just, and to bring in the money, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And as far as comic books go, like comic books are the lost leader. Okay, they're the lost leader of the entertainment industry. It's where you get people in the door. It's where you experiment with new and interesting ideas, and the ones that stick, those are the one that gets to be TV shows and movies. But the actual books themselves, they don't necessarily need to make money. They can be a lost leader for Disney or for AT&T Time Warner, because they're going to make money off of the ones that do stick and do have staying power and are interesting to the creatives, because a good creative can take a story that didn't sell well and make it better, and that's what you're working with there. So Disney has gotten approval, or Fox has agreed to sell to Disney. Now they need to go through the regulation phase, have it all reviewed. So probably we're not going to see the official merger probably for another year or two.
Oh yeah, at least.
At least. But once it's done, it's done. And the fact that the courts have said that AT&T can buy Time Warner really helps out Disney. There you go. They paved the way.
Oh, we were talking comics on Capes and Lunatics with Lilith, but what we didn't get to?
What?
Avengers number 3.
Avengers number 3 was interesting.
Yes.
Because, you talk about your 3 Jokers over there in DC, and man, there's got to be like 6 Lokis.
Do you think that's like he's portrayed different, or is it just like, I don't know if they were trying to hint around, if Jason Aaron was trying to hint around that, like, Loki kind of acts like the bumbling trickster fool sometimes, but he's really this like old conniving, demigod.
Well, it's interesting because actually there's another aspect, because they actually have in canon said there's like 16 different Lokis, and that all the Lokis that you've ever seen, they all exist. They don't stop existing just because their story has ended. They can come back into existence because they're gods and they exist through story.
And can you imagine? Can you imagine like these Asgardian gods if they have like mood swings?
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, but I mean, when you've had to deal with it for thousands or millions of years.
Yes. But what I thought was fascinating in this is this idea that there is the progenitor celestial, which is our big reveal at the end. That this is the cause of the problem, the progenitor celestial. We'll have to see what is going on with the progenitor celestial. But it was neat. And although I didn't like Tony Stark really being so dismissive of Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Because I get that, I don't know this guy, but it's like, well, he just drove in with Doctor Strange and Black Panther. Maybe you should ask them. Maybe on a deeper level, he's obviously a Ghost Rider. You do know what a Ghost Rider is. is.
I mean, unless it's just he's uncomfortable with magic, but I mean, he knows Stephen Strange, but I mean, he's known him for years. But unless they're just trying to play up like the arrogant Tony Stark from the movies.
Yeah, and they do play up that arrogant Tony Stark, and we saw that in Tony Stark #1.
Because I mean, look at this lineup of Avengers. It's like the MCU, except for Ghost Rider, who's in Agents of Shield,
which is technically still MCU.
What I'm saying,
but we also have She-Hulk, and She-Hulk is not in the MCU.
That's right, She-Hulk's the only one. But yeah, but I'm thinking I mean, she's a great character, but I'm wondering if they used her as like a placeholder for Banner, since they might be like, oh, we can't use him right now.
Yeah, obviously they did. That's why they gave her the Extreme Hulk out, you know.
Yes.
And it's good, and it plays nicely. I actually am very fascinated by this new Jennifer Walters like Hulk.
Yes.
You know, I think that there's a lot that they can do and will do with it, so I'm excited about that.
Because I found that fascinating, because it wasn't Carol Danvers. She's like, Jen, what happened to you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because these people don't always keep up with each other, you know.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Well, you know. I mean, does Carol even know that Rhodey's still alive?
I was gonna say yes. This would have to take place after Iron Man 600. I don't know, because Bendis, I don't think it's mentioned unless I'm trying to remember. Did that happen in Iron Man 600 that she found out? Otherwise, I don't think it's been shown.
No, I don't think they've actually officially told her yet.
I don't know if that relationship is even going to go forward. I don't know if that was kind of even like just a thing of convenience. So like he would have like a quote unquote girlfriend to mourn him when he died.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it was like not too long before his death, they revealed this like relationship between the two of them. Yeah. So I don't know if that was just like a contrived plot device.
Well, yeah. Although, you know, I mean, it's entirely, I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, it certainly was a contrived plot device. I think they knew that they were going to be killing Rhodey off.
Yeah.
By the time that was that Kelly-Sue DeConnick introduced him as her love interest, and then
because before that I was like, I didn't even know they knew each other. You know, really hung out.
You know, well, that's the great thing about comic books is you can say because you catch up with these characters between books. You know, for all we know, Gwenpool has a kid now. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
But what did you think of these Celestials?
I mean, well, the Death Celestials they'd actually had in a Defenders book. It was like they did a Defenders miniseries where Doctor Strange basically they get caught jumping between worlds with a couple of Defenders.
Yes.
And then he basically alters history because they actually come across this like ultimate because Prester John is in charge of the universal MacGuffin engine that alters time and space as needed to help the plot. And then basically Doctor Strange goes back and doesn't have a sexual relationship with this rando girl, and that's what prevents them from going down the Death Celestial path. But they did have the Death Celestial in that, so
yes.
It's when they introduced the Death Celestial. It's from Defenders, you know.
Now that you mentioned that, I do remember that series.
Yes, and it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because I get the feeling that there's more to the story than just the immediate, feelings of aghast and terror. That it's not just that they are the evil Celestials are going to kill us all. It's like, no, actually, there's some deeper issue that needs to be resolved. And it's sort of like when I think the Ultimates had to sort of hyper-evolve Galactus to make him into the Lifebringer. And I get the feeling that maybe that's what the Progenitor is. It's like this failed Lifebringer, and that's what caused all the superpowers on Earth.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Would the Progenitor either help the human race come into existence or at least evolve it so we would get superpowers eventually? So eventually we would get these Avengers to defeat the Dark Celestials?
Yeah, maybe the implication. Well, I don't even know if it was intentional. I think it was just, sort of like in Wakanda where the meteor hits and it just infuses everything.
Maybe.
I get the feeling that maybe this thing just died on Earth and its celestial essence infused the life on Earth, and that threw the balance of the universe off. Because essentially, and I mean, okay, so you want some crazy fan theory on this?
Yeah,
it's going to come back to Galactus because Galactus is supposed to keep the order in the universe.
Oh,
and the fact of the matter is that he has tried to destroy the Earth, but was thwarted by these superpowered beings that are possibly tied to this Progenitor Celestial, who's maybe not even consciously, but is just his essence, his ego essence, is soaking into the soil
You know
and
what?
allowing humans to just become these things.
You know what I was wondering, because we did get the scene with where Thor and She-Hulk go to Asgard. Is Odin going to try to get the band back together?
Oh, what, his original Defender or his original Avengers?
Yeah, I mean, even if like the Black Panther, he uses T'Challa or whatever. But yeah, if Kim, if he tries to get the Phoenix Force, whoever else he can get.
Well, I mean, that would be interesting. You know, I mean, Starbrand still exists in this universe. There is a Starbrand.
Yes, there's a Starbrand. Yes.
Though they may replace that with a Hulk, because that's a very weird thing in the Avengers 1,000,000 BC is the idea that, you know, the Starbrand is kind of Hulkish. You know, I don't know. It might be interesting. I think that it's going to be interesting to see Odin's side of the story.
Yes.
Because I get the feeling that basically it's like two people trying to tell two different stories, and you're getting a little bit of Rashomon telephone, where I thought this was the case and this is actually the case, and we'll see where it goes from there. Oh, I did finally finish the last couple pages of the backup feature to Spider-Man Annual.
Okay.
Because he's attacked by some teenagers. Yeah, well, I guess he does need his melter gun to actually be the melter, so.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, is he even in costume? That's like weird.
Well, no, but maybe he recognizes him because, you know, I mean, they do mugshots when they capture you.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just like, yeah, no weapon, no costume. That's kind of weird. Though. I'm like, he's just like, hey, melters.
He knows the melter. You know, the melter's a guy. He's a guy you know. A guy I know, the melter. And he's from the vicious gang of teenage thugs, which, not for nothing, I don't care if gang of teenagers some old guy to death. Even if they know he's the melter, it's still, dude, you are beating an old guy to death. This is some Clockwork Orange stuff there.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
You know, why isn't Spidey, you know, webbing up these people? Just saying. Of course, we have our J. Jonah story, and that's which I really liked, and especially I liked, and the fact that Arcade is the impetus in this, you know.
Yes, for the Jameson Slayer.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice. Yeah, I do wonder if that's going to come back later.
Maybe,
because I mean, Arcade does not seem like the most altruistic kind of person.
I mean, it could. Wasn't this Chip Zdarsky? He's the one writing the Peter. This was the annual, but he's writing the Spectacular Spider-Man book. So.
I do love Chip's work. You know, he does very interesting out there work. He embraces the chaos of comic books, in my opinion, more than most any writer out there. He's a guy who is just he is cool with Howard the Duck.
Oh, yeah.
He is cool with any of the nonsense that exists in the Marvel Universe, just letting it, yep, there it is.
He's very versatile, because, yeah, he's done that Howard. He's very versatile. He's done that Howard the Duck stuff. He's doing Spider-Man now. He did that Star-Lord solo series for a while. So, I mean, yeah, he's all over the place, but it's usually pretty good.
Yeah, no. But I think one of the that he has awareness of comic history as well as a love of it in a way that embraces the ridiculousness of it, you know. So like you look at like a John Byrne who has that same deep love of comic history, but really is kind of an intense nerd about it, you know, where he's like, you know, well, no, this is how Superman shaves, and this is how this happens, and this is you know, it is ridiculous, but he actually takes it very seriously. I think Chip Zdarsky takes it seriously, but acknowledges that it's very ridiculous, you know, and so that's I think that's the give and take between these two. And so I really like the J. Jonah Jameson plot, and the backup with the melter was nice, especially with anytime you get that plaintive, contemplative Spider-Man, that's always a good story. Of course, I also read Iron Man #1, Tony Stark Iron Man #1, and that was neat. Although it was kind of weird because I didn't realize it was like meant to be a flashback when I first started with like the Robot Soccer League.
Yeah, didn't it seem weird like that the doctor guy, I forget his name, didn't he look like Tony Stark in that flashback a little bit?
Yes, he did. He looked exactly like Tony Stark. At first I thought that was going to be Tony Stark's dad, but that was going to be Howard Stark.
Yeah, because like they even put up like black and white preview pages of this issue, and I think that's what they put up was those first couple pages. So when I saw it in black and white in the previews, I thought that was Tony Stark or his dad for a second. I was like,
no, that was Dr. Bang. But what I thought was it was an interesting take on it because it kind of shows what it actually shows is how people like Tony Stark and Reed Richards have changed this world. Because when you open it up, we're your standard Robot World Cup soccer match, which is a thing that is just like that. It's these little square boxy robots, and they kick a ball, and it's a very difficult thing to get a robot to stand and walk and kick a ball. But obviously, in the Marvel universe, that is not the case. But you actually see that here where this state-of-the-art tech is like, it falls over, but it can get up in 3.5 seconds, and that's a new record. And then Tony's robots come in, and they're just dancing around, and they're kicking the ball, and they're playing soccer,
Yes.
And it shows how this universe is very different. Oh, there was actually one thing that I really liked in this. There was a little shout-out, a very obscure shout-out in the artwork. When they go into his armor room, there is one of the armors there is actually I believe it's called the Exo armor. Well, it's not an Exo armor, but there was a movie from like the 70s. I want to say it was called EXO, about a guy who gets, paralyzed, and then he makes this armor to help him walk. You see this every so often whenever you see these mashups of like the 1970s Avengers, and that's who they do for Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
It's not a Marvel product. I believe it was an actual movie. It might have been a made-for-TV movie, but it's not actually related to Iron Man. But it's about an injured inventor who creates the Exo suit that allows him. And when you see that one armor that's like red with white arms, and it's got like this sort of unified torso and helmet, that's actually the Exo armor from that thing. So I liked that shout out. I was meaning to look up to get all the details right, but I did not. That was my bad. My apologies.
All right, here's the weird thing I just noticed. Like during the press conference at the end, Jocasta was wearing clothes.
Yeah.
But at work she wasn't wearing any. So are they saying she walks around naked at work?
Well, she's a robot.
I know. Well, then why is she wearing clothes later?
Because it's later because she's going to a press event, and social convention says you wear. Okay, so remember Watchmen?
Yes.
And Dr. Manhattan doesn't wear clothes.
Yeah.
But when he goes to the press event, he puts on the suit and tie.
I guess. Okay.
So yeah. I mean, it's not like there's anything. She's got metal boobs and no genitalia.
That's what I'm saying. Then why not wear the clothes of the press?
Because you know why?
Formal wear. Okay.
You know why you wear the suit, Phil? Because if she doesn't wear the suit, everyone's like, "Oh, Jacasta's naked."
Well, no, I'm just saying, if you're gonna wear clothes, why didn't she wear clothes at work too? It's just like a jumpsuit or something, like
because she's a professional among professionals.
I guess, yeah.
If someone is freaking staring at her metal boobs, I'm sure it's like, that's an issue for human and robotic resources. But I love that Tony Stark's company has both a human resources and a robotic resources division. So, because obviously the robotic resources would be very different laws than the human resources have to follow, and that's wrong.
I know. I'm sure I know what the answer is, but there's only been one issue with this so far of Dan Slott's take. But did you enjoy this take on Iron Man better than Bendis's?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I kind of knew what the answer was.
So let me tell you the big difference between Slott and Bendis is Bendis introduces characters you've never heard of before that have never been mentioned, but these are actually the central characters of our main. It's like, really? Slott is like, oh, here is Fing Fang Foom and the controller. Now there is another character. I think this is the first we've ever met Dr. Bang.
I believe so.
Yeah, and he is part of Tony's past life, but not in a way that makes you go, oh, this is Tony's long lost father.
Yeah. And I mean, it's. I think he's basically just supposed to be the like our eyes in the story. But yeah, for one new character, I mean, everyone else was like older characters. Even Bethany Cabe was from like older Iron Man runs. So yeah, that's the difference. Yeah. It's not Bendis rubbing his Bendis, on a franchise.
Actually, what kind of struck me about Dr. Bang is Bang, Dr. Bang. Is that he kind of struck me as much in the way that Bushka character was in J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, Bushkin.
Yes, Bushkin. See, I didn't know that he was a character before that. So as far as I knew, Bushkin was completely created for the.
Yeah, no, Bushkin. I mean, I don't think they've had him in the comics for like decades, but I think in the 70s or 80s, we might have had Bushkin. Yeah.
But my point is that with Bushkin, he's a character that could reasonably be someone from J. Jonah Jameson's past.
Yes.
Who really haven't interacted with up until this moment. Just like Dr. Bang could be a character from Tony Stark's past that we just haven't interacted with before because, he's not central to their storyline, but they can bring something new to the story.
Yes, I mean, Bushkin wasn't a new character, but these characters could have been new characters who make the story better, unlike Tony Stark's dad is
some random
Hydra guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know. I don't even understand what the impetus for that whole idea was to not have Howard and Maria Stark be Tony Stark's parents.
And if you're gonna go that route, because I don't think Bendis even came up with that original idea. He's just the one who revealed who the father was, who the actual parents were. Because I think it was before Bendis. Yeah, they said, "Oh, Howard and Maria weren't his biological parents," but they never said who. Bendis is the one who said, "Oh yeah, this singer and this Hydra guy." But it's like if you're gonna go that route, make it some big conspiracy with they'll say a name and you're like, Reed and Tony are half brothers, something like that.
And honestly, not for nothing, that one would have worked out perfectly because unlike Alfred,
literal science bros.
Yeah, Nathaniel Richards was there with Howard Stark at that point in history,
and Nathaniel couldn't keep his pants on ever. Yeah,
well, we know that he was not a very good husband.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Of course, then you have the problem that you're impugning Maria Stark's.
Yeah, true. But I mean, you've made this point I think several times. It's like if you're gonna do this with Tony Stark's parents, at least for one of them, make it a name we know. Something that's gonna be like shocking.
Exactly. I mean, should have made Peggy Carter Tony Stark's real mom.
Oh, there you go.
That would have worked. Oh, you know what they should have done? Peggy Carter and Howard Stark. Because maybe Maria Stark couldn't actually have kids, and Peggy and Howard have that moment, and and it's the 30s and the 50s, and not for nothing, Peggy's a career gal.
But with sliding
on Shield and stuff.
But with sliding time, because Tony couldn't have been conceived in the 40s or 50s, could he?
Well, he would have been.
Because if it's 2018 now, that's what I'm saying. Sliding time, it's weird.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna say, if it was 40s, couldn't they have made Steve Rogers his dad before he went into the ice?
That would have been awesome.
Oh my lord! Now, can you imagine that? Just them two on the Avengers. He's like, Cap's trying to give Tony orders, and he's like, "No way, Dad! I know what I'm doing."
No, but you know what? And here's the thing: if you really want to do a super rando, you could have done something really fun with the idea that maybe there are some Rogers offspring out there in the Randoverse. Because hey, man, did some USO tours.
Hey, you know who you could have made Tony Stark's dad? What about Leonardo da Vinci?
Oh, that would have been a little on the nose, but yeah,
I mean, at least then you'd be like, love it or hate it, you'd be like, oh, holy crap.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's so many other things than rando people.
Yes.
Because, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't know.
And it's like, if you want to go the evil Hydra guy route, why couldn't it have been like an evil, like Hydra scientist or something who was building these massive, like, death weapons? Instead, it just seemed like some, like, Hydra foot soldier spy or something.
Basically, they did, what was his name from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I'm blanking on his name. Brett Dalton played him.
Ward.
Ward, yeah. They basically made Ward his dad and Sky his mom.
Yeah.
Basically. Or a Sky Dazzler hybrid without superpowers. Yeah. That's basically what it was. Is Ward is his dad, and there you go.
I don't know if the whole point was Bendis just saying, Tony Stark was this literally a self-made man, because look what he came from. He came from basically, these two weren't that bright or...
Yeah, but, Von Doom's dad wasn't that bright either. Really, the only guy who really has that hereditary genius is Reed Richards.
Yes.
Nathaniel Richards is the only super scientist to have a super scientist son.
Yes.
Yeah. Every other super scientist, except for Howard Stark, theoretically is the super scientist who gave birth to Tony, but now not anymore. Which is actually kind of...
I wonder if that was like...
I
wonder if that was the whole point of the whole, Tony isn't Howard's son, just to give him that difference from Reed Richards, where it's like, this isn't just another guy, smart guy whose dad was a genius and stuff.
Well, no, but I think there's also this question of opportunity. You look at Peter Parker, who is that guy, is the son of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents,
Yes.
But is that super genius kind of guy,
But that was kind of the whole. They really didn't give the parents an origin until a couple years later. But it wasn't like the parents played like the, you thought you knew who the parents were for 30, 40 years. Then all of a sudden they're like, no.
No, but what I'm saying is that Peter Parker is that self-made man.
Yes.
And not for nothing, Tony Stark still isn't that self-made man because he didn't have to make anything. He just had that genius and he got the ability to do X,
yes, biologically, he didn't get anything from Howard. Yeah.
Yeah, the only real self-made man in Marvel Comics is Dr. Doom.
What about Otto Octavius?
I don't know what the Octavius's home life was like.
Because there was an issue. I think it was Spider-Man Unlimited. I think they said like his father was basically like a laborer or something.
Oh, really? Okay, so
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So yeah, his father was no genius. I'm pretty sure, and I don't think either parent was.
Okay, well then, so there you go. So then Otto and Doom, the two geniuses who came from nothing and pulled themselves up and scratched their way to the top.
the superior geniuses.
Yeah, well, yeah, and Spider-Man, you know?
Yes.
That's why Otto and Spider-Man, they're such a kinship, you know? They are brothers, now more than ever.
No.
Yes, okay. Anything else you want to talk about this week, Phil?
I don't think so. I think we pretty much ran the gamut.
Yeah.
TV, business, comics.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's everything. And, you know, not much new to say about Ant-Man and Wasp. It's coming. We're all excited.
Yeah, like 2 weeks. Yeah.
You know, and Luke Cage we talked about on Capes and Lunatics. So if you're wondering what about Luke Cage? Why don't you talk about that? Go for Capes and Lunatics. Come on, people.
And we've only seen we only seen like an episode and a half. So I mean, once we watch more, and then you and Moz will be getting into it too.
Exactly. Well, as soon as we're done with Jessica Jones, we had a bye week this week. So,
well, you were ahead in that much enough head, but I mean, yeah, for in depth, I mean, you and Moz go episode by episode. So
yes, we do. Okay, so Philip, if you would like to connect with the Superconnectivity podcast, or just you, the man who makes all of this possible, how can they do so?
Well, if you want to get a hold of me, you can email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp, especially if you want to do interviews, because our 200th episode of Superconnectivity is going to be coming up here in like 10 weeks. And if you want to get a hold of the Capes and Lunatics, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. And the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
And of course, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our Moz and Paz once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Cloak and Dagger, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it gets back. It may be something else when I feel like it. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. Okay, thank you for connecting with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please super connect with us once again. Good night.
I have to go in and start watching some more Luke Cage.
I'm sorry, watching what?
I didn't watch more Luke Cage. I didn't get to my theory, but I can do the elevator pitch. No, you know what I was thinking about? Spoilers. His kryptonite, since they're saying maybe his skin is harder now and he's more indestructible.
Uh-huh.
I think Claire is his kryptonite. What if they kill her?
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, that's...
Again, no spoilers. I've only seen an episode and a half.
That actress might not be back for future seasons.
Oh, tune in. Maybe we'll find something else soon.